welcome to Craft Corner. My name is Kristen Perotti, and if you're as sick as the cold as I am, you're gonna love this next craft because I'm gonna show you how to make a snowman without having to go outside. You're gonna need 2 different color socks, some rice, construction paper, pipe cleaner, and pom-poms, some buttons, rubber bands, ribbon, white glue, tape, scissors, a paintbrush, and a marker. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna create a funnel, and you'll see why in just a second. So I'm just gonna take my construction paper and I'm gonna fold the corner in, and we're just gonna try to make a cone shape. So you want your opening to be about this size. You don't want it too big, you don't want it too small, because we're going to be pouring rice through it to fill our first sock and make the bottom part of our snowman. So I'm just gonna take a couple pieces of tape and we're gonna tape that down. So you're gonna do one at the bottom, one at the top, just so our funnel doesn't come apart. And if you already have a funnel at home, then you've eliminated this step, and that's great, but this is easy enough to make. Just 1 piece of construction paper, 2 pieces of tape, and some folding. It's probably the hardest part. So now, I'm gonna take my white sock, and we can move our snowman friend to the side for now. And you're gonna cut just below the heel. So you're cutting the heel off. And again, I'm gonna use a bigger pair of scissors. If you're using child-safe scissors, just might take you a little bit longer. It might be a little bit difficult to cut through a sock though, so I would suggest just helping your child along. You're not gonna be cutting that much today. Okay, so now we have this part of our sock. And we can move the other one to the side. We're not going to use that piece. And we can start filling it with rice. So it doesn't matter what kind of rice you use. I got the box of rice because it's easier to pour through in the funnel. If you have a big bag of rice in your house, you can always put it in a smaller bowl and dump it from the bowl to make it a little bit easier. So I'm going to put the funnel right in the sock. And when you do this, you want to just pour slowly. You don't want to have a mess of rice. And remember, this is going to be sectioned off into 2 parts. So I kind of just filled my funnel up, and then I'm just going to shake it down so it filters through our opening. And this is going to be the bottom, so it's going to be the bigger part. But again, you don't want to fill it too much because we are going to have to tie it off, and then we still have to fill another section, so that takes up a little bit of room too. And I actually think that's going to be good. So I'm just going to put my hand over my funnel. A little bit, that's all right. And this is where it comes in handy to use a box, because I have extra rice in here that I don't need. I can just shake it down and funnel it right back in the box. All right, so this is a good amount. And now I'm just gonna take one of my rubber bands and I'm gonna section this off. You wanna tie it tightly. You don't need a huge rubber band. You know, I'd suggest a normal size one. I'm going to do this one 3 times, a little bit on the smaller side. Okay. And now we have our top section to fill. So again, we're just putting the funnel right into our sock. And this part, you kind of have to be a little bit more careful than you are with the bottom part, just because you're at the top now and it's sectioned off. So you don't really want it to overflow. Again, if it does, it's really no big deal. You just scoop it back in there. But I'm gonna try my best not to make a mess. And I'm just gonna go a little bit slower. So I only have a little bit of rice in my funnel right now. I'm just gonna try to eyeball it and see how much I need. And let's see. I'll put a little bit more in there. And depending on how big the opening is in your funnel, the rice isn't all gonna go through at the same time. So you just wanna kind of keep an eye on it, you know, check the inside of it. Just see where you're at. And then remember to leave some space because you have to tie off the top. So I think I left enough space. Let's try this out. I'm gonna grab another rubber band and we're gonna put it right at the top, right at this part that's open. We would just wanna make sure that's closed. And again, I'm doing it 3 times with the rubber band because I have a rubber band that's on the smaller side. So we're just gonna fluff him out a little bit so he looks like an actual snowman and not just, you know, a sock full of rice. And this part at the top, don't worry about because we're gonna take care of it. So this is what it looks like when you have him full of rice and sectioned off. You can see the rubber band in the middle for a bottom part and then the rubber band at the top. So now it's time to make him look like a snowman. First I'm gonna draw his face, so I'm gonna grab my marker. And I'm gonna do his eyes and his mouth with this. So just nice little circles. Not too big, not too small. And if you don't feel like drawing his face on, you know, you can always try and be creative and use something else. The idea is just to make it look like a little coal face like normal snowmen have. Next I'm going to add his nose, so I'm going to take my orange pipe cleaner and we're just going to cut a little piece off. Now that looks a little bit too big for his nose. Trim it again. And then I'm just gonna trim some of the felt of the pipe cleaner just to make it look a little bit pointy. Give him a little carrot nose. And then I also just want to trim to try to expose the wire that's in there a little bit because I'm just gonna stick his nose right on there. I'm gonna try not to use glue, but I do have glue here in case I need it. So it's always a good idea to just have a backup plan. Okay, so we have his little nose. And perfect. So now we have a little snowman with a coal face and a carrot nose, but he still doesn't really look done to me. So I'm gonna give him some buttons. You can use buttons from an old shirt if you have them. I picked these up at the craft store, you know, but if you have them around your house, then absolutely you're gonna use them. And I'm gonna take my white glue. Should be all you need for this. And I'm just using a brush because that's all I had, but if you have, you know, the white glue that you squeeze out, that's totally fine. You don't have to put it in a bowl and, you know, paint your glue on your snowman. So I'm gonna give him 3 buttons today. And they actually stick pretty nicely with the white glue. There's really no need for super glue or hot glue here. If you prefer to use those, that's up to you. But again, white glue is just a little bit safer for kids. All right, so we have buttons, that helps, but I'm gonna give them some ribbon. So again, I'm just gonna roll out more than I need because I can always trim it later. And this also does a good job to hide the rubber band, so you can't even tell that he's split. And this is just a little bit long, so I am going to trim it. And feel free to glue this down. I don't, just because it stays nicely on his neck like that, but you know, it's up to you. If you're going to be moving him around, then I would suggest maybe just putting a little dab of white glue on there just to hold it in place a little bit better. And it's time to add one more thing to our snowman. This is my absolute favorite part. I have this really fun green sock over here. So for this, you're just gonna cut the toes of the sock. And again, I don't know how well child-safe scissors would work for this, but move right through. Okay, perfect. All right, so now we have this little top part for his hat. So just gonna put that right on him. And the last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little pom-pom at the top. So let's see. We'll go with the pink one, because why not? And again, the only other time you have to use glue, just gonna put it right on the pom-pom. Don't need a lot, just enough so it'll stick on top of our snowman's hat. Okay, and we are all set with our snowman. I really hope you enjoyed this craft. I know I did because I didn't have to go outside and build a snowman. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.